Good morning, everyone. Just give me a moment to set up on multiple platforms here. I'm not sure if this will work, but we are trying. Okay, thank you for joining our class. I'm just letting everyone into the room. Today is our third class in this meditation basics course, and you can of course attend these meditations without completing the coursework. It's a short reflection and daily practice that you can reflect on and log. So if you haven't submitted your materials, please do so. And okay, we can get going. In our first meeting, we covered three basic anchors of meditation: the breath, the body, and listening, and we'll recap those today. Last week we moved into two new anchors, and that was a body scan with some attention to stress release. And finally we moved into the anchor of thoughts, and we looked at labeling our thoughts as past, present, future, just to gain some understanding of how much time we actually spend in the present moment, and what does that mean to be available in the present moment when most of our thoughts are worrying about the past or planning for the future? Today we will review these anchors and continue with the mindfulness of thought anchor. Just admitting others here. And so today in our mindfulness of thoughts, looking for further labeling to, peel more layers off the onion of our inner stream of consciousness. What am I thinking about when I'm a little spaced out, right? Because those thoughts make up the meat of who I am. I've seen this pasted in many children's classrooms. You've probably heard this before. My thoughts become my words, become my actions, become my character, become my destiny. So part of our journey is what's going on in there? Where do most of my, not subconscious, but just under the conscious level thoughts, what are they made up of? What emotions do I feel? And do I like that? Do I want to change that? Do I accept that? So let's begin by getting into the mindful body. That is a posture that's strong and straight. If you're seated, it'll be feet planted on the floor, hands loose in the laps or on your table. We can practice standing, lying down. Generally, if you're sleepy, I don't recommend practicing while lying down, because you'll just space out and fall asleep. And I've been in many courses where, the students will start snoring and I have to wake them up when they're lying down. So it's unless you do your daily practice in bed, on the way to bed, getting up in the morning, or in the middle of the night if you've woken up, then that's an appropriate time to be lying down. Otherwise, looking for a posture that's strong and straight, emulating something strong in nature. The images we've used previously are a mountain or a tree whose base and root systems spread much deeper than we can see, and similar to our own organization of mind, body, spirit, there is much more beyond the surface than what is visible on the outside. We also want to acknowledge that in others, that there is much more going on within than we can see at a glance. And taking several breaths into that strong and straight posture. Not uncomfortable straight, it has to be relaxed straight. Just so we can sustain it for an amount of time without feeling like we're punishing ourselves with work. Taking several deep breaths, noticing the rise and fall of the torso. And I'll cycle through our previous anchors now. Listening for sounds within the body, the sound of the breath. noticing my feet planted flat on the floor, my hands, relaxing the hands, relaxing the abdomen, relaxing the shoulders and face. And if by the time you have relaxed one body part, the one you did previously is tense, yes, that is the way this works. Keep cycling through these anchors compassionately, always returning to the breath and the awareness of what's happening to my body right now. What do I hear? How do I feel? Taking several deep breaths, stretching out our awareness of sound even further. What sounds do I hear in my practice room? Perhaps you can hear something on the street. And while your awareness seeps into these anchors, pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel bored, relaxed, easy, rushing to get on to the next thing in your Sunday? None of these are right and wrong, good and bad. They just are, and we just want to pay attention to them. And let's proceed into the Mindfulness of Thoughts anchor. Again, cycling freely as your mind wanders, cycling freely back to the primary anchors of body, breath, and sound. Let's do an exercise where we count 10 breaths together. And as your mind wanders, just pay attention to where the thoughts go. Is it past, present, or future? And from there, we'll move into our next anchor for this class. If you breathe very quickly and you're already at your 10, that's fine. Just keep cycling through. We're developing the endurance and discipline to sit for longer and longer periods of time with one anchor. And yes, it is a discipline, just like push-ups. You start with one and eventually you can do 50. Let's move into our next anchor, and that is more precise labeling of the thoughts that arise as we sit in contemplative practice. So we have already worked with time, past, present, future. We are already gaining insight into where most of our thoughts go. Generally, for working adults, it is planning, 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 the minutiae, and then, of course, the big picture. Or it is if you have a significant emotional problem, trauma event, then it will be obsessing over that. And, welcome to the club. This is the nature of our minds. And this is where our practice of self-compassion arises, where we observe where the mind goes and continue to breathe without getting caught up in the rat race of our thoughts. So this time the labeling will be more about the activity. Some typical words are planning, worrying, reliving, spacing out, fantasizing, you may have others that I haven't brought up. They are valid and welcome. And just keep tabs on where your patterns lie. Generally, we will have patterns of 4 or 5 thoughts in different flavors, and they will repeat incessantly. And they are usually of this ilk: I'm an idiot, and I haven't done enough. So it's punishing and pushing. And somewhere within that spectrum lie most of our thoughts, and just paying attention to how that feels, to observe them and step away. Do we want to be punishing and pushing all the time? Do we want something different? In this part of our class, we will have longer sits without guided voice like me talking. And this is an excellent opportunity to build up your discipline and stamina. However, if you are noticing thought patterns and it's pretty distracting for your practice, you feel free to jot down just a quick note about what's going on so that you can take that up later in practice, or even in journaling, or just while you're driving. Sometimes that simple act of getting something out, and rather than leaving it in, it frees us up to focus. So this wouldn't be the right time to start journaling, but if you do want to jot down a note about something that comes to mind or recurs, that would be welcome, helpful, appropriate if you feel you need to focus better. Don't forget to breathe, all the while coming back to the body, relaxing the abdomen and hands and face. The mindfulness of thoughts and emotions is really key to the mental health and wellness aspect and possibilities of meditation. It's in this anchor that we start looking at, who am I? Why am I? And sitting compassionately with our painful thoughts and emotions truly gives us the freedom to explore, to accept as we are, and possibly to explore, do we want something different? The way I'll approach this module with children is, I'm my best friend for life. I need to know and love this person with all of my flaws. That doesn't mean I can't be ambitious or work for change so I can give my highest and best. So mindfulness of thoughts is a fruitful and endless anchor, and that is also something we can be grateful for. If you've tried previously to start a contemplative or a meditation practice on your own but can't get a lot of traction, the idea of emptying your mind it seems impossible, and yes, it is. And as you see, our practice is not about emptying the mind. It's about giving the mind little jobs that we stick with for a longer and longer period of time. And when our mind wanders from one little job, we can help return focus through another job, focusing on the breath, listening. Let's move into the final anchor we'll be covering in today's meeting, and that's mindfulness of emotions. They will be flowing freely with mindfulness of thoughts. And so how is an emotion different than a thought? It is your state of being, either physical or mental. I am tired. I am frustrated. I am worried. I am relaxed. I am easy. I'm afraid. And generally, our emotional spectrum ranges from, comfort to discomfort, looking for those strongest feelings that arise. How do you feel knowing that you've got to go back to work tomorrow? Or maybe you have a very busy day today. Maybe you're unwell or someone in your family is. And it brings up strong feelings of worry and lack of control. As we deepen our practice together, you will notice the immediate emotional benefits of meditation, and that is the permission you give yourself to stop producing and stop racing from A to B. And also the permission you give yourself to be in the present moment, focusing on the minutiae of your breath, your body, little birdies, sounds. It is very relaxing, and the more you practice, the more you will enjoy this freedom from multitasking, hypertasking. Multitasking is exhilarating, but it does keep us in a constant state of flight fight. And we need to balance that out with a little bit of break from flight, fight, and busyness that isn't just vegetating in front of Netflix. As our time together draws to a close today, let's just take a couple moments together to reflect on key thoughts and emotions that arose during this practice, and commit to offering a little bit of interrogative time today to explore those further. What are the implications for those thoughts and emotions for yourself, for others? What did you like or dislike? Was it easy or difficult to observe those and continue to breathe through them without getting hijacked onto those tangents? Or were you completely hijacked? And that's okay too. That's the nature of our minds, our creative, busy, quadrillion neuron brains constantly firing. It is sometimes difficult to slow that down. Let's take a few more breaths together in silence. And returning our focus to center. Thank you for joining with me today. I wish you a wonderful Sunday and an excellent week. I'll be in touch shortly with the course reflection for this week, and I wish you a wonderful day. Thanks again.